All righty then. Welcome to tonight's OU football show. Be waiting on my guest host. But before we get to that, tonight's show, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We I gained 18 new subscribers from the last show. So, hey, the more the merrier. Join us. We do OU shows once a week. Try to keep you updated. This is a brand new show, so keep in mind that we're doing the best we can. So stick with us. Got lots to talk about in OU tonight. So, like I said, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and follow button. Let us know how we're doing on the channel. Thank you so much for being a part of our show. Tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit about OU recruiting, things going on in that nature. How do you think that the Sooners will fare in 2022? And does OU have a chance at Arch Manning? That's some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight, plus others. So, without further ado, I will bring on my co-host and we'll get started. And here we go. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Hey, how are you?
Are you at deer camp?
I am at deer camp.
That's all right. Nothing
Did
wrong
you
with
tell?
doing a show from deer camp. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, you never know where we're going to be doing our shows from. So, hey, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, man, it's good to be back.
Hey,
We need to talk
congratulations. We hit over 1,500 views on our last show, so maybe we can double that this time. Let's hope. But before we get started, I just have one correction that we have from last show that we need to make. Paul Thompson was the quarterback that came in after Rhett Bomar before Sammy. Somebody wanted us to point that out, so we did. We made the correction.
Okay.
So thank you for pointing that out to us. Hey, like I said, this is a brand new show. We're just trying to get started. So congratulations to Roy Williams for being announced as an inductee into the College Football Hall of Fame this year. What do you think about that?
Man, honestly, I'm happy for him. He's one of my favorite players. I loved watching Roy Williams. Being a Dallas Cowboys fan, I got to watch him even more when he went to Dallas. So, man, happy for him. It's good. He deserves it. He'll forever be remembered for the Superman play.
Absolutely, the Superman play. Yeah, it was. It's not a shock. I mean, it's great to see another Sooner this year. Just had Bob. Now we're getting Roy, so it's pretty cool to see a lot of these Sooners getting in there. Let's just get to it, dude. I'm gonna call it what it is: Portal Combat. I mean, these. Even I just saw a tweet from Dick Vitale not too long ago talking about this portal and how these coaches are just using the portal in the wrong way, I think. Now, we talked a little bit about this last week, and it is what it is. The portal is going to be used, and it's not going away. And the coaches are going to use it to their advantage. What do you think, though? Is it going a little bit crazy now? I mean, we're seeing more kids in the portal this year than we have the entire of last year. I think there's more kids in the portal this year than there was last year. Is it getting a little out of hand?
Man, no, I don't think so. I mean, you would rather see a player stay committed. You know, it stinks when you see somebody be like, yeah, I'm going to go to this school and I'm going to, that's where I want to go. And then, a year later, things aren't what they wanted it to be. So they change their mind. You'd rather see them stay committed and, follow through with what they said they were going to do. But that, it could go on both hands whereas, maybe it didn't turn out to be how they said it was supposed to be. Hey, you're going to be QB1, or hey, you're going to be QB1 in 2 years. And here we are, 3 years in and they're still QB2. So, maybe it's on their performance. Maybe they, go and they get somebody from the portal that comes in and bumps them down back. It's just, I think it's a double-edged sword. You want to see, it seemingly get out of hand, but at the same time, like one of the sides isn't keeping their end of the deal when they were recruited to go wherever they go.
How long before you think the NCAA might step in? Not that they will, and this is just speculation, but we're seeing, like I said, we're seeing coaches. God, I hate to use the word tamper, and I hate to use the word. Yeah, I just hate to use the word tamper. Is there a chance? Let me put it this way: is there a chance the NCAA steps in and starts monitoring the stuff going on in the portal?
Man, I don't think so, because and you could really attribute this season. This season, I think it's happened probably more than it has in the past seasons, where coaches are leaving and taking basically players with them. We've seen it with Lincoln Riley. You know, I just read actually right before I jumped on, was reading where Mario Williams is going to USC, which tells me that Caleb Williams is probably going to commit to USC. That obviously was known when he went to visit, and as soon as he went to visit, their quarterback hit the portal.
Yeah.
So that right there tells me that, I'm surprised it hadn't been announced yet, but maybe Caleb is taking his time saying, is this really what I want to do, type thing. But no, I don't see the NCAA jumping in, because what can you do? What, are you going to limit it? Are you going to it's there for a player's benefit. Does it suck for the school? Absolutely. You see a kid, you get a kid and you're like, yeah, man, you're super proud of it. You're happy about it. The coach leaves and all of a sudden they bounce. But you also it's another one of those things. It's two ways. You see a player and he commits to a school, right? And you're thinking in your mind, well, he's committing to the school, not to the coach. Not necessarily. A coach is the one that brought him to the school. A player is there. A player wants to develop, and coaches are what ultimately do that. So if I'm hoping, I'm going to point this out now in case you had it up later, but OU getting what's it, Valet or Valet? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Yeah, the assistant defensive coordinator, I think is what he is, or.
Co-defensive coordinator and head of pass defense.
Yeah, so he's, from what I've read, a very good recruiter. So that's going to benefit Oklahoma, because I'm sure they're already talking about one of the recruits that he's been heavily recruiting has now been offered from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's just. Players are committing. Yes, they commit to a school, and I get it. You want them to live up to that commitment. But I mean, we talked about it last week. Caleb Williams, he wants to go somewhere that is best for his future. He wants to. Lincoln Riley is the one who recruited him, and you look at Lincoln Riley's history and the quarterbacks that he has in the NFL. You can't deny Caleb Williams that option. Be like, hey, I want to be with this coach. He's the one who recruited me. I went to Oklahoma because of him. I want him to develop me to be the best quarterback that I can be to make it into the next level. And so that's just an example, but that's how it is. And you can't get mad. As much as it sucks as a fan, you can't get mad about it.
Yeah, I think fans, and I'm one of them. You're one of them. I think sometimes we get blinders on and we only see what's, we're okay with the portal when it helps us, but we get mad when the portal
absolutely
beats us, and it's okay. And I mean, that's fine. I mean, let's just, for instance, we just got Dylan Gabriel. Okay. That's a great pick. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a great pickup. He's got history with Jeff Levy.
Yep.
Then we get this kid coming out. The portal's working for us as well. We're getting two defensive tackles, one from Tulane, one from Hawaii. These guys are just huge, and they were highly recruited to Tulane and highly recruited to Hawaii.
Yeah.
There's defensive players that want to come play now. Jeffrey Johnson being the one from Tulane. He's already there. Him and Gabriel were on campus today. They're already signed in school, ready to go, so they can make it and play for spring ball. along with Jason Llewellyn, another highly recruited tight end. So we're getting people not only, a month ago, like we said, a month ago, we thought this was the end of Oklahoma football as we knew it. Lincoln Riley was taking everybody. We got nothing. We don't have a coach. All of our players are leaving. And man, if you get on Twitter, if you get on social media, you get on any news site, any sporting news, anything like that, there's people committing to OU every day. I follow OU recruiting. I see the lock now. Lincoln Riley had his eyeballs. Well, now we got the lock, the lock that says we lock somebody down. That's cool. So I think the fans sometimes go, oh no, we're doomed. Guys, we haven't even played a snap of 2022 ball. We don't know if we're doomed or not. But like I said, other news coming out of recruiting, or I should say the portal right now, and the portal combat. I can't copyright that. I saw it somewhere else, so I wish I had come up with that. But it was pretty cool. So shout out to the guy, I can't remember his name, who came up with it, but I'll give you a shout out if you even watch this. But couple of USC candidates may be coming to OU. In fact, today Jackson Dart said he's got his choice down to two schools, Oklahoma and Mississippi. If Jackson Dart does come in, I'm not saying he's pretty highly recruited there for USC. I believe he was a 5-star.
I think he was. As a matter of fact, I'm about to pull it up.
What does that hold for Gabriel?
Man, you got to think that would be rough news for Gabriel. But I mean, he's also Jackson Dart's also young because he was just a freshman.
Yeah.
So
Gabriel would, but you would have Evers and Dart, I guess, be the two younger crew, and then Gabriel's what, or junior or senior, I guess.
Yeah, I want to say he's in like his 4th year or whatever it might be, but
he got the medical waiver.
You would have to think that it would be good for Jackson Dart and Gabriel. I think it would be a battle. I think you would have a true battle, a true quarterback battle for QB1. And I think if Gabriel was to get it, he's only going to help Jackson Dart and Evers. He's been around for a while. This is, he'll be going on his 4th season. He played 2 full seasons, got hurt this past season, but that would be rough news, I'm sure, in his mind. But in his mind, he's a competitor. So he's also thinking, hey, all that's going to do is make me play better.
Yeah.
All that's going to do is drive him, be like, hey, man, that QB1 spot's mine, bro. I don't know what you're thinking you're doing coming in here. But, you talk about recruiting news. How about Arch Manning being
– yeah, that's I'm just get ready
being
Arch
offered.
Manning.
But you had to see that coming.
Football, Arch Manning, they have offered him. And I was getting ready to ask you, what do you think the odds are for him coming to Oklahoma?
Man, I don't know that I could put odds on it, but I don't think it's far-fetched. He was being highly recruited by Jeff Levy, and was highly considering Ole Miss. So now, was he considering Ole Miss because of his name just left me. There's Peyton and Eli Manning.
Yeah.
Was it because that's where Eli went, or was it Jeff Levy? I know he was highly considering Ole Miss, and I know Jeff Levy was recruiting him hardcore. So the fact that he even is being offered from Oklahoma, that tells you right there that he has some interest. He sees what Oklahoma has done in the past. Now he's at the offensive coordinator that he was already considering initially. So I don't find it far-fetched. He's got his options though, and he's a Manning, so obviously he's gonna have plenty of options out there. It's gonna be a matter of again, who does he want to help shape his career in a college to move him up to the next level. So Hopefully Jeff Levy can do that, because that would be a huge pickup.
Oh,
for
that
the
would be. I mean, that
2023.
would be. OU is set for 6, 8, 7, 8 years at quarterback if they happen to
Yeah. I mean, you got
snag
Evers.
Arch Manning. And again, I mean, that's the shock. I mean, because we never would have thought. I mean, even a month ago, there was not even any talk of Arch Manning coming to OU, and now offered out there. It's out there, and there's a good, like you said, Jeff Levy was recruiting highly. He's got the Manning connection to Ole Miss as well. So, I'm going to give mine. Right now, I'm going to say 40-60. 40-60 that there's a chance that Arch Manning, or
that'd be
40%
fair.
that we get Arch Manning in a Sooner uniform in the next couple of years, 2023.
I could probably do 30-40. That makes sense. I mean, like I said, he's going to have options.
Yeah.
It's just, and like you said, he wasn't even ever offered from Oklahoma. So automatically, OU's offer him has a lot to do with Jeff Levy. So, we got some time, but that'll be, man, that would be huge. That would be huge.
Yeah, and man, I mean, like I said, we got a lot of just keep reading and I follow, like I said, I follow the recruiting, see what we got. A lot of people being reoffered after they dropped.
Yep. I just saw one today. The defensive guy. Oh, yeah, because they reoffered him after we got the Alabama defensive
coordinator.
They reoffered him because he was doing
coming back to play. So I mean, the defense is going. They're going to start picking up pieces, and it's going to, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be a whole new, brand new for the most part, defense that you've ever seen. I mean, yeah, you're going to have some players coming back and players that we already had, but there's going to be names and faces that you'll be surprised, and that's what I want to get into with now we're getting this defense in place. We're getting the coaches are all in place, on-field coaches, I should say. They're still working for some of those, I guess you call them advisors or whatever they're called.
Oh, yeah.
Student advisors, coach advisors. They're still looking for some of those. What is the chances now that OU runs the Big 12 again this year? Who do they need to be afraid of most?
I mean, obviously you got to look at Baylor. They just won their Big 12 championship. Came out of nowhere, honestly. I mean, obviously you got to watch out for Baylor. You got to watch out for Oklahoma State and Iowa State. I think will probably be the top 3 teams. You never know what Texas is going to do. They're due to eventually bounce back, but heck, they Thompson just, he's into the transfer portal. Of course, if you ask a Texas fan, which I did, they were okay with it.
Yeah.
They
ended up
they
in
were
Nebraska not. Anyways, that's I mean, wasn't his dad. Charles. I mean, like I said, he wasn't his dad. Charles played for OU. Did better at OU, but I mean, he wasn't his dad.
But no, I think,
you're right. Texas could be back up there. I mean, we've been hearing Texas is back for 10, 15 years now. I mean, they'll have a good season and then they'll have three bad seasons. Have a good season and 3 bad seasons. I mean,
you gotta think that they're going to be back. When I say back, I don't know that they're going to be top 15 back.
Yeah.
But I mean, you've got to think that now that he's got his first season under his belt, he's got to come in and you figure they'll probably look to at least win 8, 9 games, like a minimum. There's no way. I don't foresee them going 5-7. I mean, I don't see OU falling short of 10 wins again.
Yeah.
Honestly. We've lost pieces, but we've also, like you said, we've gained pieces. So as we're losing players, we're getting players. Like, they're backfilling, not to mention the players that we've already got on the roster. Like, people just assume, like, we lose, like, the starters leave anyway. It's college football.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the NFL. You're not keeping these players, on a salary contract for as long as you can.
Mhm.
Like, they're limited anyway. A good solid player, you can bank on having 2 years if you're lucky. So people have to realize that. People have to understand, look, players come and go. It's college football. Like, that player that entered the portal, or that commitment that, decommitted and is going to go elsewhere, he wasn't going to be here forever anyway. He was going to help out a year or two and then be gone. I get it. It sucks. But we have other players. We have pieces already in place. Not to mention, again, people discount the fact, like you said, that we're benefiting from the transfer portal.
Yeah.
It's not like we're just losing players and then that's it. They're all
Well,
gone.
they see
No
the
football
name.
season next year.
They see the names they know. They see the name. Oh, Caleb Williams is gone. They see that name they know, and then they see, oh, Jeffrey Johnson. I don't know who Jeffrey Johnson is unless you actually watched an actual Tulane game. Watch Tulane's defense almost beat OU. You'll know who he is.
He had 6 tackles. One of those was for a loss.
Yeah. So, I mean, they get upset about the names they know, and because I've never heard of Of course, if you're not paying attention to, if you're only a Sooner fan and you only watch Sooner football and you don't watch other, I can understand that. I totally understand that, and nothing against that. I get that. That's fine. But you got to know there's other players out there that are just as good as Caleb Williams. They're just as good as Spencer Rattler. And they're going to come to OU. They want to come to a name. OU will be a blue blood football program for the rest of its life. I mean, it's going to happen. They're still one of the top 8 always. When you talk football, I mean, look at some of the starting quarterbacks playing in the playoffs.
Yeah,
there's the 2 from Oklahoma playing right now, or this weekend. That's Kyler Murray and Jalen Hurts. So players are going to come. Players are going to go, just like you said, man. And I think people get wrapped around that a little bit too. Like you said, they get wrapped around, that he's leaving. It's 4-year college, folks. 4 years. If you get somebody to stay 4 years, you're lucky. You're way lucky.
And the only way you're getting a good, like I'm not discounting people being good. What I mean is a quarterback like Caleb Williams will not be in a college for 4 years. He did 1 year here at OU. He will probably do 1 year at USC and probably go to the draft. Mm-hmm. They might get lucky and get him for 2 years at USC, but I doubt it. They would have maybe gotten 2 years had he had not started half the season at OU if he didn't waste his red shirt. Right. But there's no way he stays at a school for 4 years. He's just too good. He's going to be in the NFL. He will be at the next level. He's that good of a quarterback. So we would have had him maybe, even if he would have come back, even if he comes out of the portal and comes back to OU. It's for another year. That's it. So, yeah, people, you can't get wrapped up in it. You just can't. Like, no. It sucks. I get it. We're both OU fans. It sucks. Yes. But
I've lost a lot of sleep over games and players too. So I've been there with you guys, and it's sometimes that's just the way it is. Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's a 10-win season. I think at least 10 wins. Baylor might be hard to knock off again next year, at least for. I mean, and the Big. I got a feeling the Big 12 is getting ready to go. Defensive styles anyway. I mean, Dan Aranda, he's a defensive coach. Look what that Baylor defense did. So you can count on that.
Look at Oklahoma State's
defense stepped up. So I feel like while the pros are going to all these high-powered offenses, college is going back to smash mouth defense. And that's, like I said, sometimes I would rather, like the national championship game the other night. People were like, "Oh, bored, snooze." Man, I was loving 9-6 there for a while.
Man, that's just like when OU won their national championship against Florida State, 13-2. I will take a 13-2 victory all day. Yep. I'd much rather have a team that is in a top 10 on defense, that only allows single-digit points per game, like Georgia's did. They only allowed 9 points per game, and 3 of those came from the SEC championship game when Alabama put up 41 or whatever it was against them. So I would and you saw a much different Georgia defense in the national championship than you did in the SEC championship. Yeah, I get it. Alabama was short players, but so was Georgia. Like, I saw a TikTok the other day, and he was an Alabama fan, and he was making fun of other Alabama fans because Bama fans were making excuses. Oh, we were missing this many people, and this guy got hurt, and this guy, is getting ready for the draft, and blah, 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 blah.
Well, the
And he's
depth
like,
that they have, there should be no excuses.
No.
That's probably one of the only teams that's not affected by the portal for the most part. That
Yeah.
depth is 3 or 4 deep on each position, darn near.
But even him as an Alabama fan was like, listen, Georgia was short players too. It was not just Alabama that was short players. Listen, when it comes to bowl
by
season,
a walk-on quarterback.
Yeah. I mean, Baker did the same thing, except he just didn't win a national championship. So, I mean, listen, and he had no NIL deal. That's how you know a player wants to play football. He wants to play the game, not for the money. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and it was about his name slips my mind, but it was that old Charlie Batch offering that $1 million to Caleb Williams, right, for the NIL deal for him to go to Eastern Michigan. And I'm just thinking, they were like, you think he'll go? And I'm like, listen, if he goes to Eastern Michigan, that right there 100% without a doubt proves that Caleb Williams plays football for money. Yep. He does not play football to play football. Nobody wants to go to Eastern Michigan. Any good player that comes out of Eastern Michigan earned that. They are good. They worked on their craft, they perfected it, and then they made it to the next level. They don't go there unless they're from Michigan. Like, come on, let's be real. So if he would have taken that $1 million and went, that's because he wanted the $1 million. Had nothing to do with playing football.
Absolutely.
That's to me, that is the one thing that sucks about the NIL deals. Like, I don't disagree with them getting money. Like, they were getting paid anyway. We talked about it last week.
Yeah.
But that is the one thing that sucks, is when you start throwing money in it, it starts making things different. And it brings out the people who want to play because they love the game versus the people who play to get paid. Granted, college player, listen, I understand. College players are playing to make it to that next level because they want to get paid.
Yep.
I got it. Like, hey, we want to be professional podcasters. You got to start somewhere, right? Like, I get it. But I think eventually, they will eventually have to put regulations in place with these NIL deals. But I'd much rather, if Caleb wants to go somewhere because he can make more money, that's better for him. If he wants to go somewhere because he wants to develop with, the coach that recruited him, because that coach has an amazing track record, like you just said it, 2 quarterbacks under Lincoln Riley in the playoffs. So if that's what he chooses, that's what he chooses. I said this to my brother last night, and he agreed with me. And I said it to you last week. I would much rather have a player who wants to be here, who is dedicated to making Oklahoma football great. Like, I'm not going to say again because I think it's great already. You don't win 10 games in a season and it's not
great.
Like, it's not a great program. It's a great program, but I want a quarterback who wants to do everything in his power to be the leader and take a team to the net. Like, that should be everybody's goal. Win the Big 12, go to the national championship. Not just make the playoffs. We've done that. Been there, done that multiple times. We have to get over that hump. You're a Dallas Cowboy fan. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. How often do we get made fun of because we can't win a playoff game?
Yeah.
OU's in the same boat. Like, we've made it to the playoffs, but we just haven't been able to make it over that hump.
Dallas is getting over the hump tomorrow, so I'm sure.
I hope so. They're due.
Since we're talking about playoffs, this is the last thing we'll talk about before we get off here today for our next show next week. This is one of the things. Do we wait until 2026 or do we see – I mean, the only thing holding up right now is the ACC from expansion. Literally, the ACC is the only thing – they've been in their little conferences. They've been in their commissioner conferences all week. And the only conference holding up is the ACC. And you would think that they would want expansion after being the very first time since the start of the playoffs of not being in the playoffs. So you would think that they would be the ones that want to expand quick and quick like. Do we see the playoffs before 2026 or is it just going to happen on 2026?
Are you talking about the expansion?
Yeah.
Man, I don't – no, I mean – so I think it would go two ways. I think we could see it expand sooner if we fall under that umbrella of controversy again. Like we have the last – it didn't really happen this year. There were 4 front runners, like no question. You knew going into championship weekend how the pieces would move depending on who was winning the game. Like you knew who the top 4 would be.
Yeah.
There was no – in my eyes, at least in my opinion, there wasn't like a game. I knew as soon as Alabama beat Georgia how that was all good. Like I could have told you that they were basically going to flip-flop, right? So this year we didn't have controversy, so it wasn't as big of a deal as it has been the last couple of years, because when you start having conversations about, oh, well, do you want a Big 12 champion who lost one game, or do you want a one-loss SEC team that didn't even win their conference? You know what I mean? So when you start having that, that's when it really amps up we really need to expand this thing. So I think it's got to happen before 2026. And another big key to that is going to be the conference realignments. OU, Texas, to the SEC, the 4 teams that the Big 12 is bringing in, any other moves that are going to happen, because I think that'll happen before 2025. Yeah. I honestly think that OU, Texas will probably
last year Big 12 this year. Yeah,
I agree 100%. I think 2023 sees OU and Texas off to the SEC. It doesn't really make sense to hold off the inevitable to me.
Yeah.
I think they come to an agreement, and they'll have to pay money, but I think somehow they can. I think I read somewhere that they can actually work together or take it to court and may not have to pay as much.
Yeah.
So I think
I figure we'll see it 2024. I figure we'll see the expansion, and I mean, I know OU's going to the SEC, but I still think there's a little bit of bias there. Even though there wasn't so much controversy this year, I still think seeing Alabama, Georgia, and I get it, I understand, but you're not. It's not. I don't feel like it's a real playoff. I just feel like it's 2 extra bowls with 4 the same teams. I want to see teams that there's a chance, that Notre Dame might come in and upset somebody, or Oklahoma just had a bad game against Baylor, but they came back and they destroyed a Michigan. I want to see something like that. Same thing with all these other teams. I'm just using examples, so fans don't jump on me because I used other teams. But I mean, I would like to see it. I am a firm believer in the 12 team. I think the top 12 is a really relatively, because majority of the time your top 12 have 1 loss. This year was 2021 was a weird year, but for the majority, you either have undefeateds and 1-loss teams all the way up to the top 12, and I think that's legit.
That, and you all
part, you have all of your conference winners in the top 5 anyways, or excuse me, the top 12 anyways. So you got that there, and then you have some. There's the rest of your at-large bids.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the top 4 should. When you talk about the top 4, they should be the ones that get the buys.
Yeah.
In your different regions, you have one in each one that are going to obviously make it into the next round, and but I think if you do 12 teams, you don't do bowl games.
No.
You
Well, I
know,
think you'll
just
still
make
have some of the smaller bowl games, but
Oh, no, no, I
you
don't
know,
mean
you'll
bowl
have.
games in general. I just don't think you should make the playoff games bowl games.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
At,
yeah, yeah.
at,
No,
at
no,
least
it's
for like
home.
the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's home.
You know,
Like if the top 12 and OU's in it, and they're the higher rank, and they're
yep.
playing
Higher
Notre
seed gets the
Dame.
home
Notre
game.
Dame comes to Norman and they play. That's just do it. And I'm ready to see wild card weekend for college. Now I am. I'm ready to. You know, they were talking about wild card weekend for NFL. I'm ready to see wild card weekend for college going
Yeah.
on at the same
It,
time. I think it'd be
I mean,
awesome.
it would be good. It's gonna be good when
Yeah.
it finally does happen. It's gonna be great for college football. It's only gonna help things. It's gonna make things better. There's no negatives that I can think of that can come from it.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you. I think it'll happen probably 2024, 2025-ish.
Yeah.
So one of those 2 years, before 2026. So there's no way that they hold off 4 more years.
I don't think the ACC holds out much longer on giving the go ahead, because Pac-12, who was one of the holdouts, just jumped on it and said, no, we want to expand. We want to expand the playoffs now because for the most part, they've been getting left out.
Well, I mean, they would have benefited. They would have benefited from it this year.
Yeah.
Oregon would have been
benefited, absolutely.
So, they would have had a couple teams that, well, at least Oregon. I don't know if they had anybody else in the top 12, but they would have at least had Oregon. Oh yeah, they had Utah.
Utah would have been in there as well. Yeah.
Right. Won the.
So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be fun to see. So. I mean, that's what we got. We still got lots to talk about. We'll talk about that more next week. Want to thank you guys for coming out. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube when this is uploaded. We appreciate you guys coming out. Hey, go give us. Hey, we're at 1,500 on the Caleb Williams video. Like I said, maybe we'll get 3,000 on this one. It'd be nice to see. All right, we'll see you next week, buddy.
Yes, sir. We'll see you next week,
folks. We'll see you next week. Later.